How do there, chums? This is I, Captain Steve, and today we're playing No Man's Sky, and this is Expedition 4, the Emergence. This is Expedition's Revisited Community Mission, whatever you want to call it. So let's jump on in and fire up my save. Am I going to be a Viking for the fourth time in a row? Probably am. Right, so out of all of the expeditions, I think this one is probably my favourite one. I mean, you do get given a giant worm that you can fly on at the end of all this. So that's pretty darn freaking gnarly. But I do like the fact that they've added in new threats, these weird worm creatures that pop out of the ground. But we'll get to those in a moment. So I'm spawning in, I've sped up this footage. Am I going to be a Viking? And yes, I am a Viking. Yeah, exactly the same Viking as last time in the purple number. What's going on? Pretty odd, this. Anyhow, so this is a worm-infested planet. So, yeah, lovely jubbly. That was a little bit odd. The actual text on that badge looked like it had changed somewhat. It looked like it was 2 words. May have to relook at that. Well, okay, I did take a quick look. I think it means Titan worm. Anyway, we'll press on, yes, because we've got an expedition to do. So rather than search for your ship, your first badge really is to actually locate one of these worm nests. I'm on the wrong phase. So here we go. We want to do that. The beast awakens. Now, it's a bit odd because the text says to follow where the worms go. So the very first time I'd done this expedition, I was actually following the big freaking critters. No, lock onto this little red icon that looks like a worm coming out of the ground and head towards that. Now, don't rush. Take your time, zap a load of rocks, zap a load of sort of flora as well. You need carbon, you need ferrite dust, and you need vast quantities of it. Not just for normal stuff like fixing the actual parts of your ship, but we're going to need to craft a heck of a lot of warp fuel. So you need to make the canisters, and we're going to have to go get some activated copper before we leave this planet. Now, before we leave this planet, there's a few essential things that I feel that you should do. Because this is an extreme heat planet, there's a few badges that you can pop on this very first planet. One of them is surviving inside of an extreme firestorm for a certain amount of time, and it's walking in that certain amount of time. So yeah, another badge you can pop is collecting this, which is the cursed worm dust type stuff. So mine that out of the ground. You saw I did a little hole next to it. I was adjusting the actual depth or width of my terrain manipulator by pressing this top shoulder button on the side of my joypad to shrink it, the L1. Yeah, so I shrunk it down so I could get a lot more out of the ground. And there we go, we've popped a badge for having that worm cursed dust. Now, yeah, it's quite a latter badge. I know I've done it in phase 1, it's in one of the latter phases, but yeah, just trust me, it's easier to do it on the first planet so you don't forget. So I've grabbed all that nice cursed worm dust. Heck yes, I have. Now, there's another badge. As well as surviving inside of the extreme storm, the firestorm, you need to take critical damage from a firestorm. So next storm that actually kicks up, I'm just going to let my hazard protection go all the way down to 0, and it sits there, and you've got these little shields underneath, these little plus signs. They can go down until you've got 1 left. You only want to lose 1 though, so you just take some critical damage. So we're going to be doing that. Anyhow, I've selected the worm nest again because for whatever reason I lost it after I popped that badge. So I'm just locking onto this one. It seems to be the closest and we're heading there. You can see here the extreme storm is hitting me right now. But I'm not going to bother topping up my hazard protection. You can see the little plus signs underneath. Now, I've arrived at the worm's nest. This is a bit dangerous because I'm taking damage from the extreme storm. If I took damage from that worm as well, it could kill me, okay? But yeah, I'm keeping at a safe distance. I'm using my pulse splitter, and I'm shooting the shite out of these worms at distance. So this has been one of my favourite expeditions because a lot of the other expeditions didn't bring nothing new into the verse. However, these worm critters are very new and they're very cool, and I'm hoping if they do bring in some sort of void in the future, we come across creatures like this that are a lot more ferocious. I mean, these are babbies. There's a little babbies of the giant worms. Those big giant majestic sausages that keep jumping over the top of us. These are their babies, and we are killing them. We're murdercating the babies of the majestic beast. Are we the bad guy? I had this sort of quandary when I was doing this the first time around, people. Now, the actual stuff that you get from killing these wambabas is worth a shitload of money. A load of money that you can sell. You can sell all that stuff, and you can buy yourself a new ship. Now, when you do get to your ship is a hauler. Its turn-in circle is like a slug in sludge. It's terrible. It's not good. You're moving really, really slowly, like I don't know, a penguin in treacle or something. It's slow, basically. Think of the slowest thing you can think of. Haulers are like that. They're terribly slow. And also, the hyperdrive range on them is terribly bad. And now we're going to have to do a lot of actual warp jumps to get to Expedition, Rendezvous Point 1 and the other rendezvous points. So the first station I get in, I'm going to sit up there until an Explorer flies in, because Explorer ships have a lot further in hyperdrive range. Yep. And we're going to do a swap, because the haulers are worth more, because they've got more slottage, or they used to at one time in the actual game they did, but they've kept their value, even though they're terrible, which is dodgy. Yeah, they need to actually add in ship perks. I mean, it'd be cool if you had an extra tab for the haulers, like smuggling, so you could put a load of contraband in there and you're not going to get picked up by intergalactic police. But we haven't actually got intergalactic police. We've got sentinels, but they don't really chase you down if you've got contraband, because guess what, there's no contraband. So yeah, I'm just making stuff up now, but it would be nice to have perks, ship related perks. Anyway, we're popping badges for killing a load of the worm babbers. So I've gone to a few of these worm nests on the way to my ship, and as I'm heading towards my ship, if there's a storm, I'm running and walking and running and walking and running to pop another badge for surviving in that storm for a certain amount of time. But I also need to get that activated copper. So I've locked onto an activated copper deposit, because the activated copper we can turn into chromatic metal. So I'm going to head on over to there. I'm just sorting out my inventory space at the moment and shuffling things about, because we've popped a few of those badges and got a few of the rewards. But I am heading towards an activated copper sort of patch inside of the actual storm as well, and hopefully getting that the actual counter at the bottom to go up. Once it goes into night time though, it actually goes to extreme cold, but it's not a storming cold, so you're not going to get all the actual additional steps. So whenever it's cold or not in a storm, I'm using that to just resource gather. I'm getting a load of ferrite, I'm getting a load of carbon, getting a load of oxygen, because you need oxygen as well, people, to actually spin up your freaking warp fuel anyhow. But you can usually buy oxygen up in the Galactic Trade Terminals once we get to the station. Sometimes you can even buy the chromatic metal if you're super duper lucky. It's a rarity, but sometimes it's up there. Anyhow, I've made it to my activated copper, and I've shrunk my beam again for my multi-tool, and now I'm excavating out all of the activated coppers out of the ground. Now, an extreme storm hit while I'm doing this, and now what I'm doing, rather than standing still, because it only goes up when you move, I'm walking around in circles while I'm mining it. Yes, I am. Yeah, but it's a bit tricky. If you're not very good with doing that and doing two things at once, or there's holes in the ground that you've already dug, like just happened there, I decided that I'm just going to run around for a while in the storm and make the most of it and try and get this to go up as high as I freaking can and make the most of the storm. So now I'm actually running. Before I was just walking around the hole. Now I'm running around in circles near to the activated copper, not going too far away, and every time that I run out of a little bit of energy, I'm then zapping a bit of copper and walking at the same time, and then I'm going back to running around in S's and things. But there we go. I've managed to get out quite a lot of the activated copper while also clocking up that other milestone. So that's kind of what I like to do. I like to juggle 2 or 3 things at once while I'm doing these expeditions, so I'm popping multiple badges at once. Now, a lot of these badges that I'm popping, although they're in the future sort of expedition phases, it's helping me because all I need to really focus on is now the journey, and the journey and resource gathering. So the resources that I need to get, like I said earlier, I need ferrite dust, oxygen, I need condensed carbon, so as long as I get a lot of carbon and I can actually use my personal refiner or the portable refiner, I can turn that into the condensed carbon. So I'm getting a lot of carbon because I'm not seeing a lot of condensed carbon crystals on this planet. But there we go, we've got a lot of basic resources in between getting all that activated copper and my actual journey here so far, because I'm not in any rush to get off this planet really. So I'm going to another worm burrow as well. So I figured I've already eradicated like 3 of these now. This is my 4th one that I'm visiting. There is another badge further on to kill a certain amount of these little worm creatures, so I only need to kill 2 more of these worm babes, and I think I'm going to pop the badge. So let's just kill all these ones. Actually, I think I've got to do this nest and then 1 more nest, but I'm close. So here we go, let's go on over to the next nest, and I think this is the last nest where I just need to kill maybe 2 or something like that. So let's head on over there, and on the way there I'm still blasting a load of trees and a load of rocks and getting all those basic elements. Now, there is a quicker way to get all these basic elements once you fix your ship. Once you fix your ship, you can just sort of dive bomb and shoot the planet's surface and get all the resources. However, there's not a lot of free spaces in your actual hauler, so you're not going to be able to gather too much. So I'd say get all your essentials to at least make maybe 10 warp fuels in total. Right, here we are. We've reached my ship. Brilliant, that's the second badge. But by the time I pop this second badge, I've already popped like, what, 6 others or something. So we're doing swimmingly well, even though we've spent quite a long time on this beginning planet before we've even taken off. And now you can see that an extreme storm has hit. And because an extreme storm has hit, I'm running around in circles. As you can see there, I've tamed a creature on this planet. He's so cute. He's like that thing out of Lilo and Stitch, isn't he? Stitch. Him with the big friggin' ears, like a giant gremlin. Look at him go, his little run, he's so freaking cute. Anyway, I've nearly popped that badge. There it is. Boom, resist the flames. What a cool looking badge that is. Awesome, we got it. Fantastic, yes we did. Awesome, charge that back up. Lovely jubbly. And we can jump back into my ship. Now before we take off, I need to refine some stuff. So all the carbon that I've got, the vast majority of it, I want to keep some back, but I'm going to be turning that into the condensed carbon. I'm going to be getting all the copper that I dug out the ground and keeping maybe a stack of 200 just to install rockets into my Explorer to one side. And I'm going to be turning all of that into chromatic metal. While the actual refiner's going, I'm just going around and blasting a load of other bits and bobs, just because. You don't have to, but I'm just doing it just to fill some time. So I've got those two things refining right now. Now I'm going to need ferrite dust, one to fix the ship, I need metal plating. I also need to make a hermetic seal, so I need some additional carbon and I need some ferrite dust to do the repairs on my ship. So I'm grabbing that while I'm doing it. I also need some pure ferrite, so I've put in some extra ferrite to make some pure ferrite to fix one of the components of the ship as well. And then all the repairs are done and I'm ready to take off. But before I take off, I've just moved some of the modules from my general space into my technology space to free up some space inside of my hauler. So now I've got quite a fair few free slots inside of my hauler. I'm just tidying up my exosuit before I leave the planet, blasting a few last things before I take on off, and then we're going to be, I'm just waiting for my chromatic metal. There we go, back into my ship, and now it's time to take off. But before I fly up and pop the badge for actually taking off, like I say, I'm shooting the heck out of the planet. So I'm just hammering the fire button, then swapping to my rockets and letting off a rocket, and firing some more and letting off a rocket, and just going across until it says inventory is full. Once your inventory of your hauler is full, or whatever ship you get started in, I think everyone gets a hauler, fly up into space and pop the badge. Heck yes, awesome. And I've got loads of carbon now, I've got loads of ferrite dust, but it's not refined. But I can do that the next time we land on a planet, or if I get a portable refiner installed, which I should have picked up the actual blueprints for that by now, I think. So awesome, I could probably install that so I can actually refine on the go. Now, I'm going to fly into the station. Before I leave any system, when I'm jumping on these expeditions, I always land in the station. Just in case I have to go back at any stage, you can just use a teleporter in the station to jump back to any previous stations that you've visited. Now I'm just checking the planets here before I leave this system, that none of the planets have got ancient bones on. Righto, there's no ancient bones in this system. No, there's not. But I may need to come back to here. I'm going to head into the station anyways, because I don't like this hauler. I want to get rid of this hauler, so I'm going to be waiting for an explorer ship to fly in. That's going to take some time. So while I wait, I'm just going to run up here, up this ramp, and over to here, and expand my storage capacity of my exosuit. Not only that, I'm going to run around and look for any blue cubes, orange cubes, or flat hockey disc type puck looking things, and hit them up for navigational data and nanites. I'm going to be selling all of that worm babby type goo that we got from killing all those worm babies, as well as anything else that I don't need in my inventory space. 1, to clear up my inventory, 2, to get a load of units, so I can buy a ship. Excellent. Now we're waiting for said ship to fly on in. That's a lovely explorer. How much is it? I can afford it. So I transfer over all my stuff, give him my monies, and exchange my hauler. I just exchanged and gave him a little bit of monies. Awesome. So we've now got a new ship. Heck yes, we have. And now I'm just moving stuff around and getting comfortable in my new digs. Nice. And it's also got an S-class for a lift-off capacitor thing, so I don't use as much sort of lift-off fuel. Lovely jubbly. Heck yes. Awesome. And now I'm jumping, and I can jump a little bit further on my jump range, which is great. So yeah, not much to be fair, but we will tweak that when we get to our next station. So I am going to be going to this planet here because It's got ancient bones. Yeah, the ringed planet in this system, lovely system. I will give you the actual coordinates, the portal coordinates for this later. So if you are struggling with the ancient bones, it's quite far in anyway. You might have the ability to come to this planet, I don't know. So I'll give you the coordinates later. But I'm just moving stuff around because you need to dig up 16 of these. So you need a fair bit of inventory space. What I found is you can dig up the bone and then you can delete the bone. And it still counts that you got the bone. Now I come across this drop pod, and I want to show you a sneaky little cheat that I saw Jason Plays do. I didn't even know about this until I saw Jason do it. Basically, you need 3 things to actually open one of these. Or do you? If you can see these little green crates next to this, normally they're on the freaking ground. I don't know why these ones are anti-gravity crates. It's probably because it knows that it's me, and I want to actually do a video of this, and it made it hard and stuck them in the air. But I'm Captain Steve. I'll find a way. Awesome. So when I got onto the green crate, now what you do is you get rid of the rusted metal, just bin it, and as the box starts to open, press circle to exit out. Then go down to your drop pod, interact with it, and it thinks you're opening this rather than the green crate, and you get your free storage slot without having to use those free things. Nice little tip. I thought I'd share it with you. Hope you like it. Thank you, Jason Plays. I'll put a link to Jason Plays' channel in the top right hand corner if you haven't come across him. Hit him up, he's awesome. And there's a load of navigational data on this planet as well, so I'm picking that up too. I don't know whether I'm going to need it, but navigational data you can swap for cartography maps to help you find buildings of certain types if we ever need them. Now I'm just picking up my last of the 16 bones. Triumphant! And I must say, this planet's frickin' littered in them. So it was actually quite quick, and it's quite a nice planet. There's no storms on it either, no sentinels. So yeah, I was left to my own devices on this one to do a bit of digging. Heck yes, I should have got a load of salvage data while I'm here. Because salvage data you can spin into nanites, and we can use those nanites to maybe upgrade the hyperdrive range. So if you do start digging up bones and you see salvage data, dig a load up because you can spin it into nanites. Now we will get rewarded 777 nanites anyway when we pop one of those badges that we did earlier. There's the coordinates for the planet if you do want to come here to get your ancient bones if you're really struggling with it, but you will need all 16 glyphs, and that's no easy task to get all 16 glyphs unless you follow one of my little sneaky videos which I put in the top right hand corner. Hit that up and it shows you how to get the glyphs relatively quickly. You just have to exploit the nexus. As long as you can summon in the nexus you should be able to do it. Now I'm using the salvage data that I got given as a reward. I used 15 of them. I didn't use the full 20, so I still got 5 left. And I bought myself a C-class warp drive engine because that's all I could afford. And then I saved and reloaded, and then I bought a second one. So yeah, I've used some of my nanites to put in a slightly better warp system. It's not going to get me much further, just a teensy-weensy bit further. And now I'm selling some of the other commodities that I popped on badges that I didn't really need. You get given quite a lot of junk in this expedition, it has to be said, and you don't have a lot of inventory space. Some of these badges almost feel like a slight step back. Anyway, I'm warping again, and I've got a freighter battle. Now this freighter battle is with the freighter's not very good. It's not a very good one, but you can decline it. Don't feel that you have to accept the first freighter that gets thrown at you. Heck no. Just if you don't like it, decline it. We're in no hurry to get the big awesome freighter, or even this freighter. You know, it would be nice to have the extra storage capacity, so some people might be tempted, but I'm going to ditch it. I'm going to say no thank you. Yeah. However, shooting those pirates, you are going to get a load of magnetized ferrite. Lovely jubbly. Awesome. Yeah, and if any pirates do encounter you in space, if you shoot them down, sometimes you get copper, chromatic metal, and magnetized ferrite, which is quite nice. This second station I jumped to, the very next station I reach, sells an S-class hyperdrive module. So I've got these 2 C classes, and now I'm half tempted to get rid of them and spin up my other 5 of my salvage data and my remaining 5 into nanites to see if I can buy 2 of them. Because I'm not far off. If I didn't buy those 2 C class ones, I could have bought the 2 S classes. Darn it! Yeah, just my luck. Anyhow, so now what I'm doing is I'm buying pognium, platinum, or was it runaway mold? If I can't get the runaway mold, then I'm buying residual goo from the actual Galactic Trade Terminal, because this one sells it. And I'm refining it inside my personal refiner into nanites. Now, the residual goo, you have to refine it up into like slime and mold and then into nanites. It takes a while. So I was quite a while up in the station refining stuff to make my nanites. I freaking earned this second S-Class module, I'm telling you, because I spent a fair bit of time in here waiting for ships to fly in to buy the pugnium and the platinum. No ships really did. I had to do a reload to get the ships to fly in the end. I think there must have been a freighter. Oh, there was a freighter battle, wasn't there, right outside? That explains why people weren't flying in. Right, anyhow, brilliant. Okay, cool, awesome. That's why on a reload they flew in. Okay, awesome. Well, you can buy pugnium off of the people that land here, and sometimes you can buy the platinum, which also spins into nanites. Platinum costs a lot more than pugnium, but you get a lot more nanites from the platinum. I'd prefer it if they were selling the platinum, to be honest, because I've got a fair few units from killing those worms. Heck yes, so I buy a load of pugnium, and I spin that into my nanites to buy myself this lovely S-Class module. Thanking you, my friend. And also I'm using that residual goo, like I said, to spin all that up into living slime, and then into mold, and then that mold into nanites. And yeah, so I think I've earned this. Right then, Corfax Fender, I want that S-Class module that you've got under your counter, yes, because I've finished baking my last 34 nanites. I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel for nanites. This is not a Captain Steve thing. But yeah, I haven't left the station to do it, so I feel that I've accomplished something here, people. Yeah, got it off of all the vendors, all the nanites I needed. It took me freaking long enough. I could have just baked some goods, is how I'd normally do it, or I'd go and get some larval cores and spin those into nanites, because it's far quicker, or hadal cores even. Anyhow, it is what it is. We've got to get some larval eggs at some stage. I think we've only got to get 6, which is a lesser number, I believe, than the original one. You can see here I've just broke my warp drive. So I'm going to delete one of the C classes, which was nanites down the frickin' drain. And yeah, here we go. But it did help me get a little bit further. So it probably saved me from crafting an extra 3 warp cores or whatever they are. Awesome, let's fly on out then, and hopefully we're going to be amongst the stars and off on our journey. And when I say off amongst the stars, into the galactic map, and let's just see if I can do it in one jump. There we go, and again, and again, and yes, I've reached the expedition point. That would have took me like an extra 4 warp fuels, so I think it was worth it, even though I've made myself 10 of the things. But I think I've got enough now for the full journey. I think I'm okay for warp fuel. I think I'm sussed, because I got so many resources before I set off. And here we are at Rendezvous 1, which means we've completed Phase 1, and we've done every single badge of inside Phase 1, and we've also done a few in other phases. So we've made our life a lot easier. So this first episode might be the longest episode of all this series. We'll see how we get on, because there's a few other hard badges to pop as yet, people. So yeah, hopefully you're liking this playlist. If you are, please hit a like and subscribe and all that sort of shenanigans. Hit that bell for when I do the next one. But I should have the next episode out by tomorrow. Some point during tomorrow, that is. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, people out there in the verse. Anyhow, where's we just got given as a reward another S-Class module. Alright, okay, well I could replace the other C-Class, couldn't I? Let's do that. Let's delete the C-Class and let's put in the other S-Class. Oh, look at that, my hyperdrive range just went through the frickin' roof. Wow, that's freaking awesome. Excellent. I love these worm planets with the worms jumping around. I really hope that they bring these into the actual verse. I really do. That'd be freaking sweet. Lovely. Nice message balls there. I'm just going to jump in my ship and out of my ship. Create myself an autosave. But you guys out there in the viewerverse, thank you very much for watching. See you next episode. Goodbye, goodbye, and goodbye again. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like and a subscribe. And I'd like to say a massive, great big thank you to all of my backers over on Patreon and over on YouTube membership. Thanking you, backers. And if you want to support this channel, just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Or yeah, just stay with Captain Steve that little bit longer and hit something on this screen. There's merch here now too.